Hitting potholes or sliding into curbs can have a major impact on your car.
I'm glad we're talking about this because maybe we can settle a long-standing debate. When you see a pothole, do you swerve to avoid it, or do you just go straight on through and pray for the best? I don't know this. I'm dying to know. We are about to find out, my friends, because who better than our Monday morning mechanic, David Rogers from Keller Brothers Auto, to talk about how to take care of your car and those potholes. And I've seen, like, my dad's a guy that will swerve into a ditch to avoid the pothole.
Chris, I'm going to tell you, first of all, just in case the State Patrol's listening, I'm not the right person to give you that advice. I remember I'm the guy that fixes the car after you hit the pothole, okay? Right. So, no, honestly, though, I think the thing about potholes and about swerving anytime, whether you're avoiding an animal or a kid or whatever, you got to pay attention to what's going on around you, because sometimes it might be better to fix the car than it is to, try to make up for hurting someone, which none of us would want to do. The thing with potholes and the thing with alignments, and a wheel alignment is something we don't think about much. Unless your steering wheel's pulling clear off to one side or the other, you don't think about it much. But tires are becoming more and more expensive every year. And one of the best ways to avoid, wearing them out early is to get in and have an alignment done and check them out. This tire is kind of neat. It's a plastic model, of course, but it gives us some different shapes and things that'll help us understand what happens. Here what we have is kind of uneven. It feels choppy. As I run my finger across it, you can tell it's not even. And what that is that's from bad shocks or struts, because the tire's actually kind of bouncing. It can also cause some of this look too. They call it chopping or feathering. What happens with an alignment is typically the inside tread will wear off, or the outside tread will wear off if the alignment's out. Now, if you wait until you have that kind of a symptom, you're in trouble. Your tire's never going to be corrected. It's always going to continue to wear that way, and you've already ruined it. So the rule is, when we hit a good hard pothole, or when we slide into a curb kind of sideways, you bump it a little bit, your wheel alignment's going to be off in most cases. It's best right then to go and get a good alignment, have that done, and just prevent the problem. Another thing that I want to talk about today is shocks and struts and how they affect these things. Because even if your wheels are perfectly straight, they're not leaning any directions, and they're going fine, your tires can still get beat up really bad. And typically what happens is you have a shock or a strut like this, and they're the same thing. They sit on the wheels. They're designed to take the weight of the car on a bump or a drop and hold it up. Now here you can see some oil right here. Now if you see any of that around your shocks or struts, you know for a fact it's time to replace that. You don't need any other symptom. It's leaking. It's no longer going to hold the weight of the car. There's chambers in there that are full of fluid. And the idea of those chambers, I'm going to see if I can get it to make noise because it's leaking. The idea of those chambers is to, no, couldn't do it. Well, the idea of the chambers is to hold that fluid in there and dampen the bounce and then slowly allow it to come back up. Now, when a shock's bad, what you begin to see, and I'll do it with this strut, is you begin to say, well, look at that. Is that going to hold the weight of the car up? I think not. So you're going to get some clanking when you're going over bumps. If it's all the way shot like that, if you hear that sound, get to a shop right away, because you're not just damaging tires, you're damaging the car. You can actually ruin the vehicles where these mount. You can tear it out and end up having to have some major repair done. Now, if you notice with this strut, it's really hard for me to push down. I'm putting all my weight into it, and it's coming up real slow. And that's really what we expect from a shock or a strut that's working properly. It should come up pretty slow. This one might be a little past it. But the idea, again, folks, is that you want your shocks and your struts to be in great shape, taking the weight of the car. You want to make sure your wheels are perfectly aligned. You can't look at them and tell. Sometimes the steering wheel will pull a little bit when it's off. Sometimes it won't. Get an alignment every 6 months to a year. Certainly have your shocks and struts checked. And this is another reason to go see a real technician rather than a quick oil change place when you need your oil change, because he'll look at these things for you and let you know before they start tearing up tires.
Great advice, so important. David, thank you.
Have a great new year.
You too. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you.
It is 6:19 here on your